why is there mud built up all around there? I don't think it's from the flood. And right now, this spring, I can see more changes to this property than in any time since we purchased it. And that's due to... Well, what's up, guys? It's Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and I'm back over at the Mill Creek property. I feel like it's probably been at least 3, maybe 4 weeks, maybe been a full month since I've been here. And actually have not been to this Mill Creek property since before the tornadoes came through and all of that stuff. Now, there shouldn't be any direct line of path tornado damage on this property. There were some pretty strong storms that came through here that night and some possible tornadoes, but we shouldn't have any just extreme tornado damage here. But I want to come over here and check on a few things. I have not been back really, maybe at all, since all of the seed, that green cover seed that I planted a while back with the wood cedar. I've got several spring and summertime food plots planted, and then we did that big barrier, the view blocker seed blend along the county road, and I want to give you guys an update on all that stuff, give you guys an update on what the place looks like after our controlled burn, our prescribed fire. That was in February, so March, April, May, we're looking like 3 months out past that, and just update you guys and check the place out because things have been so busy lately. I've just not been able to get here. So we're gonna drive around, check everything out, and see how food plots are growing and see how things are doing. Now, it just rained here. I mean, I missed the rainstorm come through by maybe 20 minutes. The sun's popping out right now, but the skies are still kind of dark and eerie looking. And that's just been the story of everything the last few weeks. I mean, I have no idea how many inches of rainfall over the last month or so, but it's a lot. And I'm not one to complain about rainfall. I'm happy to get it, and it's all good. It just keeps us on this cycle of it'll rain, kind of dry out a little bit. You can kind of start doing some work, start doing some projects. It'll rain and get muddy again, but it should be perfect conditions for growing food plots and plants and crops and things. That little pond is completely full, I know that. Oh, I want to run over that. Look at all the butterflies. Look at all of them. Some wildflowers. There was probably a dozen butterflies on that when I first pulled up close to it. Look at him. And there are so many different kinds of wildflowers popping up out here. This is another one. Look at this. It's like a vine. It's hard for you guys to see it on video from a distance, but in person, there's just little different types of varieties of wildflowers all over the place. And a lot of them are just covered with insects and butterflies. Look at that one. Pretty cool to see, really. There's still a lot, that's a lot of ragweed and stuff in here. There's still a lot of weeds, but I don't know. Well, the place is looking fabulous right now, I know that. All right, this is one area that I planted with a green cover seed blend, and there's a lot of it popping up. There's a lot of stuff in here. What is that? Hang on, what's that? You see the white thing in the middle of the screen? I have no idea what it is. We'll go check it out in just a second. But anyways, there's a lot coming up. This is all new growth from seeds that I planted. They're just a whole variety, a blend of things. Something's been eaten on that one, which is what we're going for. But there's still a lot of undesirable things in here, like this is not something we want. Sericea lespedeza we need to get rid of, but that stuff will come over time. And I want to go see what this little white critter is over here. What in the world am I looking at? I think it's a balloon. I think that's what it is a balloon. It's not moving. But look, there's so much. This is all, pretty much all in that seed blend variety that I planted. Different things coming up. I can't name them all. Don't ask me to do that, but that one's already, whatever that is starting to flower a little bit. But there's gonna be a ton of food available for deer and whatever wildlife species decide to come get it. And this will be really good for the soil because it's really fairly poor soil, honestly. Yep, definitely a balloon. Somebody had a birthday party and lost a balloon. Happy birthday. I may go leave this leave this on the porch of the trailer house because today is actually you guys, I don't know if you guys can even see, Monday, May 13th. That is Weston's 22nd birthday. And also my buddy Lyndall that's got the bulldozer that's been helping me do everything and had the liquor store in town that got hit by the tornado. It's his birthday. I think he's 41 today. So happy birthday to those fellas. Oh, and I think I figured out what this is. It's, hey, come back. That's starting to bloom just a little bit. I think that's buckwheat. Buckwheat grows really fast, and there was a couple different varieties of buckwheat seed in those seed mixes, but I think that's probably what that is. Man, I know I'm a guy and I'm into deer hunting and fishing and all of that stuff, but to see such a healthy little ecosystem, when we first bought this piece of property, this whole area right here was covered in eastern red cedar trees. No flowers, nothing pretty, nothing for insects, nothing for bugs, nothing for, the food chain to go up. And right now, just walking around, I did plant a bunch of seed back here, but it's just starting to come up. And a lot of this property we planted several acres of a pollinator blend, lots of flowers and stuff. But what you see is just native right now. There's nothing really flowering that we planted. So all those butterflies and things are just on native flowers, native plants that are popping up on their own, wildflowers. And there's so many out here right now. And it's just exciting to see because, like I said, this area was covered in cedar trees. I mean, like right here, you can still see the soil is trying to recover from being choked out by what's left of an eastern red cedar tree for probably a decade. I know. I may be a little bit of a weirdo. I get it. I understand. But even seeing small steps, small progress on a project, something like this, is it's encouraging, and it's awesome to see that you know, your hard work paying off sometimes, and planting and clearing cedar trees and clearing brush and mowing and putting out different minerals for deer, and all the things all tie into this wildlife management. I mean, as much as I love to hunt and as much as I love to see my kids enjoy hunting, managing a piece of property is very rewarding. It's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time, but when you can see those fruits of your labor paying off and benefiting everything from deer and turkey all the way down to caterpillars and butterflies, it's just awesome. Well, the rain's here. Fixing to get, maybe go set at the cabin for a minute. It just started pouring on me. Maybe it won't last very long. Oh my goodness. Look at the state wildflower of Oklahoma, the Indian blanket. This whole field area is just red with it. Look at that. Aren't they pretty? I'll get you the front of one. There you go. State wildflower of Oklahoma, the Indian blanket, completely covering this field right now. Not as pretty as the Texas bluebonnets, but still, video doesn't do it justice when you're here in person. It just looks so cool. And the rain's kind of letting up on me a little bit, so it's not too bad. Look at this one. Tell me if you know what this is. I really don't have a clue. It's some sort of thistle. But look at this flower. Is that not like, that looks like something you would buy and plant in your yard, man. Other than the stickers on the thistle, but I'm not sure. Ouch, ouch, dang sure hurts. I'm not sure what kind of thistle it is, but there's a little bug in there doing his thing. Even the weeds are pretty in Oklahoma right now. Man, all that rain really does help a lot of things out for sure. There's a reason people always say April showers bring May flowers, right? And we had showers all through April and, well, all through May now. And even with the devastating tornado storms we've had and everything, there's still a lot of beauty out here in God's creation. My goodness, look at this field. It went from red to yellow. This one's completely covered in, woo, man, it's raining now, but completely covered in yellow wildflowers. And it takes to get soaked. I love this little cabin. Still 100% off-grid power. I haven't touched this system in months. Well, probably a year. EcoFlow system's running good. We've had this thing installed for quite a while now, and it's running completely on solar. I know we don't use a lot of power over here, but when we do come over here and need power, we've got it. So, need to clean up the floor. The red wasp all got in here and died. But I think I'll just hang out and watch it rain for a little while. Well, looks like most of the rain's over. I can see blue skies up there again, so let's go give her another shot. Okay, before I go show you guys the pond and give you an update on that situation, let's drive out here by the county road and look at this view blocker blend that we planted and see if it's coming up and doing anything. Obviously, it's not going to be blocking any views right now. It's still only been in the ground for a month or so, but I'm curious to see if it's coming up. Well, right now it's actually really hard to tell because everything kind of looks the same, But I think this is what we're looking for right here. This looks like what was planted that should get, you know, 6, 8, 10 feet tall. There's several varieties, and it's probably hard for you guys to pick out in and amongst all of it with all the grass and other flowers and weeds and things, but there is a lot of that growing in there, so we shall see. I don't know. I'm gonna walk around a little bit and check it all out. So it should be a blend. I don't remember the exact ingredients. Sorghum and Sudan. I think 2 or 3 different kinds of sorghum. But a lot of this, so there's a lot of what we call Johnson grass coming up in here. And this is Johnson grass. That's not gonna be our view blocker plant. You can see it's growing all in the fence row through here and everything. But I do think a lot of that blend is coming up in here. It's a little harder to tell than some of the other varieties I planted, but you can see, I mean, there's several places where there's a lot of that type of grass coming up, and it kind of looks like it's in rows. And you can see where I stopped using that cedar here, and when I move over a section, there's not that type of grass. So it looks like it's coming up to me. Let's give it another month or two, and it should be way taller than everything else out here. Look at the flowers, though. I guess it's just a day of looking at flowers. Man, I'm telling you, that little storm dropped a lot of rain in just a few minutes, and now we're getting bright, sunny, blue skies, and the humidity is about to go crazy high. Man, isn't the pond pretty right now? It looks good. It's pretty well full. I'm gonna drive down here and look at the spillway pipe a little bit. Still haven't addressed that problem. We'll get to it eventually. It's just something else on the list, I guess. But you can see the pond is probably 8 inches below, running over the top of the spillway pipe right now, and it looks like there's mud built up all the way almost to the top of the spillway pipe now, which is kind of interesting because most of you guys know, if you've kind of kept up with this pond over the last year or so, that pipe was sticking up about 3 feet above ground level. Oh, my wife's calling me. We'll get you back. Get back. Be right back in a second. Okay, I'm back. So before, this pipe was sticking up about 3 feet above ground level, and it is completely mudded in around it right now. More on the reason why that's like that in a minute. I have a pretty good idea of why it's like that. But either way, I do not hear any water running out of that pipe, which means the mud has sealed off those little leaks. Oh, the mosquitoes are so bad out here right now. The mud has sealed off the leak at the bottom of that pipe where it went into the dam, which means if that's the case, I don't have to tear all this out and redo it, if that in fact does hold the mud. Now, why is there mud built up all around there? I don't think it's from the flood. So as you can see, it almost looks like a volcano of mud built up around that spillway pipe, and it goes straight down about 10 feet and curves and goes under the dam, pops out on the other side. But why would this be built like a volcano around it? Well, let me give you a little hint. Beavers. I've got a game camera set up at the very back of the pond right now, in an area that used to just be a little narrow strip, like not really a creek, but just that channel that goes up into the timber that feeds water into the pond. Well, that game camera's in about 2 feet of water right now. The battery's getting low and I need to change it. But I don't want to get the buggy stuck trying to get to it because the pond is much higher than it was. So, beavers, good, bad, ugly, they can be a nuisance, they can be a problem. But today, I feel like they're kind of solving a problem. So I'm not worried about trapping the beavers. I've seen 2 on camera at the same time. So we know there's at least 2 beavers in here. But they've adding that mud in there, packing that mud around that spillway pipe, they've added about 2 feet of elevation that the pond can hold right now. So as long as they don't start packing sticks and mud and plugging up the top of the spillway pipe, I think we're just going to say we can be friends for now. So down here on the back side of the dam is the spillway overflow, and it basically just turns into a little creek that runs all the way through both of our 80-acre properties here. But it doesn't look like there's any water running out of that pipe right now. It's just standing water. So more than likely the beavers traveled up this creek from another pond, found this hole of water, and then went over and found the dam. So we're gonna let them be for a while until they cause a problem or cause some destruction. We're just gonna be friends with the beavers. So the cover crop is looking good though. Look at this. Look at all the seeds. It's all going to seed. So this fall, all this should re-sprout. I did put a lot more seed out on that end of the dam. It was just one of those green cover seed blends. And you can see some areas like right here. Here's where some of that was planted. It's all coming up 6-8 inches tall. Kind of hard to tell the difference in it and just the grass and the weeds growing on the dam, but there is a lot of good stuff on here holding all our soil in place, so that's good. Okay, lesson time. Stories with Daniel. You see all of the grass we just drove through, how tall, step out here, how tall all this native grass is. This is probably a lot of blue stem and a couple different other kinds of native grass. It's a lot of it's over 2 feet tall in this little area. This was all burned. You can see this was quite a cedar tree that almost went completely up in flames. This was an oak tree that I told you guys 1.5 years ago during the drought I thought was dying because all the leaves were still on it and they were brown, and everybody's like, oh no, that oak tree's not dying. Well, it completely died. It never leafed out last summer. But all the grass in here, let's look at all of this grass growing like crazy. And then you take just a couple steps, see it's all open where the sunlight hits the ground. You've got a lot of grass. Now, under the cedar tree, very little. There is some sunlight getting through there, so there is a little bit of green under there. Let's look at this cedar tree. Boom. No food, no forage, no cover, no nothing to help pretty much any animal survive. You think deer, turkey, rabbits, all kinds of little varmints would prefer to be in this or this? Still have a lot of cedar trees to remove, and we'll get there one of these days. We're going to take a bunch of them out, but it's very encouraging to see how much browse there is, how much native vegetation is coming up in areas where it was just a closed canopy cedar forest before. And don't forget, we were in quite a drought the last couple of summers. You know, there's been some extreme droughts in the last few years, and this looks better than it has since we bought the property for sure. But getting rid of a few cedar trees, opening up some ground to some sunlight, there's just an incredible seed bank already there, and life just takes off in a hurry. You can see it. You can really see a difference in what this looks like versus once you get into that heavy cedar cover, and there's just not much that can grow. All right, made it over to my big food plot field. The feeder's empty. I don't really run the deer feeders this time of year at all, but I am going to be putting out a bucket of mineral for the deer. I've used this stuff for a couple of years now. They used to be a sponsor of the channel, but not anymore. But in saying that, I still do use the Lucky Buck mineral. It's a very strong apple flavored, apple scented mineral, but this time of year especially, it really helps bucks put on, you know, a lot more antler. Obviously, they're using a lot of minerals to grow big antlers. Plus, we're getting into fawning season, and the does are going to need some extra nutrition to help produce enough milk to raise those fawns. So, super simple, nothing fancy. Just dump the mineral out on the ground and they do the rest. Check out this pear tree. Look how many pears are on this thing right now. It's completely loaded down with pears. There's fruit everywhere. But I will say this, when I bought this property, the former owner, Buck, told me this thing would have 10,000 pears on it, but you'd never eat one. And so far that has definitely been the case. I've never been able to get a ripe fruit off of this tree. And I just think that's basically because it's out here in the woods and the animals eat it all. Squirrels, raccoons, possums, everything probably just pick it clean, including birds. I mean, even crows and, you know, just songbirds and stuff probably eat a lot of the fruit off of it. So, which is fine. I don't need the pears off of there, but it would be nice if they got big and we could have some of our own. But last year it was loaded just like that. Never once got a single solid mature pear off of it. But anyways, we're gonna dip off down in the timber. This is an area that the fire went through that burned really, really well. And I kind of want to give you guys an update and show you what it looks like in the heavy timber. There's very little light making it through the canopy. We're basically in a closed canopy forest in here. But the fire did do a lot of good through here. And when I say a lot of good, I mean it killed a lot of the small underbrush, a lot of little winged elm trees, which makes room for those big mature oak trees. It gives them more nutrients in the soil. They're able to get what they need to produce more acorns or whatever type of crop they produce, you know, for wild animals and stuff. But as you can see, it's greening up in here on the floor of the forest a little bit, but not a lot because, like I said, heavily shaded area of the property, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it, but we do want some sunlight hitting the ground because that's how you get food for wildlife to grow. But the fire came through here and did a very nice job of basically just cleaning up the forest floor for us. See, there's an area where there's some sunlight hitting the ground. You can see just how much greener it is already with just a little bit of sunlight hitting the ground. And the fire did kill some cedar trees. There's a dead cedar tree right in the middle of the screen there. It actually killed a lot of small, you know, that more immature elm trees and cedar and things. So that's always good. That was one of our goals. So as you can see, we're making a lot of progress on this property, and that was, you know, some of our goals are being met little by little. The mosquitoes are seriously trying to carry me off. It is unreal. I feel like I'm in Mississippi or Alabama or something, about to get carried off by mosquitoes with all the rain. It's crazy. But we are checking off some goals. We're making better habitat for all the wildlife, everything from deer, turkeys, you know, all the way down to turtles and, you know, beaver even. which they're our friends right now until they prove otherwise. Butterflies, bugs, insects, all sorts of things. I've got to move. The mosquitoes are not gonna let me talk right here. And that's really, honestly, why I bought this property. Or both of these properties. It was 2 80-acre tracts that we put together, and not that they were not taken care of before, but there's always ways to make it better. And you know, back when we bought the first place off of Buck, and the conversations I had with Buck and the realtor said he was talking to Buck, and I've said this multiple times on the channel, Buck was the kind of guy that was like, this place, it had been in his family, well, not the part I'm on right now, that's actually the second part, but Buck's 80 acres had been in his family all of his life. And he's the kind of guy with the mentality of, it's not mine, it's just my turn. And that's truly how I feel about this place right here. But like I said, I've told you guys multiple times, I don't know if my kids are going to inherit this place, or we eventually sell it and invest it into another property and invest it into another property. There's things I would like to do other than just grow big deer. You know, I would love to have a property that had a 10-acre pond on it, somewhere where we could build a 10-acre lake. This property is not it. We were able to put a small pond on here, but it's less than an acre, and it's not perfect. Maybe if it continues to hold water well, we can start stocking it with some bluegill and things, and that would be, you know, really nice. But we're going to see how it holds water through this spring and summer. But it's a cool property. It's a cool place, but I don't know if we're going to have it forever. Like I said, I kind of feel like it's my job to carry on that mentality of, it's not mine, it's just my turn. And someday it may be my kid's turn, or it may be someone else's turn. I don't know. But I know one thing. Managing a piece of property is so rewarding for me. Managing a piece of property and making it better for other generations, future generations of my family and friends or other people, or making it better for the wildlife. Either way, it's so cool to see the changes over time. And right now, this spring, I can see more changes to this property than in any time since we purchased it. And that's due to, you know, bringing in help from professionals and doing that big prescribed fire. We burned about 65 acres, and we planted a lot of seed and done a lot of things, and just helped the land live up to its potential. And right now, with all the rain we've had this spring, it is doing that. It is, I feel like right now, God is really showing off. I know that sounds weird, but I feel like the Lord is changing this piece of property and bringing on all of those flowers for all the insects and the butterflies, and just what I can see that may not come through so well on the camera lens is rewarding. And I can't look at a piece of property like this and see all of these flowers and all the intricate details of the butterflies on the flowers and all the little things and think that this happened by accident. It's not possible. It's not possible. In my mind, there is no possibility that the world just, boom, started and some big bang happened, and over 100 million years, everything's evolved. No, there is intricate details that point to a creator. And when you are out in nature, I promise you, it just doesn't seem that there's any other possibility. Someone way more intelligent than us designed every tiniest little detail of every butterfly and every insect that's on every flower, and they all have a purpose and they all have a design, and they all work together in a just, I can't even explain it. There's just something about being out in nature, even with the mosquitoes buzzing and biting, and I really wish the Lord wouldn't have made those mosquitoes, but they're here. It's probably because of what happened in the Garden of Eden and sin and all of that. I'm betting there was no mosquitoes in the Garden of Eden. I can't imagine God putting Adam and Eve in the garden without clothes on and have mosquitoes, because they drive you crazy. But it's just so cool. And on that note, I shared a live video the other day at church of Houston getting baptized, and I'm not going to cry. I don't want to cry. This is not a sad video, but all three of our children have been baptized in our church. We attend the First Frugal Baptist Church in Sulphur, Oklahoma, and that was the church DJ and I got married in. All three of our kids have been baptized there, and watching Houston evolve and grow and come out of that young childhood phase of life and start making steps and making decisions of his own, in his own life, and deciding to give his life to Christ and make that decision to get baptized. That was not our idea. He came to us with that idea and wanted to do that, and we talked to him, and the youth pastor talked to him, and the pastor talked to him, and so he got baptized this last Sunday, and we couldn't be any more proud of our son. So I'm going to roll that and go on before I start crying.
Can you hear me okay? All right, very good. You got our microphone working. It's time, Houston. I told Houston that his mom gave me $100 to hold him under the water a little bit longer. 60 seconds, in fact. So he's been a little nervous. Most of you know Houston Arms. This is DJ and Daniel's youngest son. Obviously, he has grown up in our church and has been a pleasure to have in our youth group. And I asked him when he got saved, and I was kind of surprised to hear the answer, because most people, they can point to a certain time where it was at this church service, it was at youth camp, it was at this point in Vacation Bible School that I gave my heart to the Lord. That's not really the case with Houston. Houston, just over months and maybe even a year or two of thinking about it, decided on his own that he wanted to be a Christian and that he put his trust and faith in Jesus Christ. And I like that. I like the idea that a child, a kid, put that much thought into this process, because if you remember, that's what Jesus told us to do. Count the cost before you take up your cross and follow me. And so I believe that's what Houston's done. And he talked to his parents a few months ago about being baptized. And so he had a long talk with Pastor Tyler. And then we talked a little bit this morning about it and agreed it was time to baptize Houston. And so, Houston, if you go ahead and put your hands over your nose so I won't drown you. Okay? All righty. Upon your profession of faith in Jesus Christ and obedience to his command, I baptize you, my brother, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Do something today to make somebody smile, because you never know, it just might change the world. So guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day, and as always, we'll see you on the next video.